Hey everybody, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Cathie and on this episode of Make It with Mod Podge, I'm going to show you how you can take a plain, well not plain, this printed napkin and cover these pots. Now I got this tray of pots for $2 at the dollar store and I love the base color, but I wanted to give these a little bit of a floral makeover. So the supplies that I'm going to use are some folk art home decor chalk. I'm going to use Mod Podge in satin. You could use gloss or matte, whatever you prefer. I'm going to show you a technique how you spritz the napkin with water that helps prevent wrinkles. We're going to use some scissors, some paintbrushes. I got some wax paper. It's super simple to do. So on today's video, I'm going to go ahead and make everything from start to finish. And what you want to do when you're doing a project like this is go ahead and paint your base pot with the folk art home decor chalk. Now I'm using the white Adirondack color. You could use a creamy color too, but you want to make sure you're using a light color. And when you do that, that means all of this beautiful imagery on this napkin will pop through. So you see the napkins usually have a white background. That's so that all those great colors pop through. If I were to put this directly on to the pot like that, you would get that blue behind it. It would actually probably turn kind of purple because that pink would mesh into the blue. So this is a bamboo pot. This technique works on any kind of pot, metal pots. You can do this on terracotta pots, metal, even a little glass vases, you name it, you can do it. So the first thing you're gonna do is just base coat it with your folk art home decor chalk. This will just serve as a primer. I do like to try to keep my brush strokes sort of going in one direction so it's nice and smooth. And you'll just paint. And we'll do that same technique for all three of the pots. And once they're painted, I'll set them aside and let them dry. And they'll dry for about 20 minutes. So let's go ahead and get these all painted up. And I'll be back once we're ready to add our napkins. Okay, my pots are dry. I waited about 20 minutes. And now I want to show you how we're going to apply the napkin. So you can see I've got it all primed up. We're only going to be using the top printed ply of the napkin. And I'll show you a little trick. I've got some tape here. Let's see, sometimes separating them can be hard. So let's see if this little trick will work today. I don't have my glasses on, you guys. There we go. So we're only using the printed part of the napkin. So this one, there's actually two plies here. You can see 1 and 2. So you're gonna remove those. And I use them for cleaning up spills and wiping up paint. So they're still really good to use as paper. So we've got just the printed portion of the napkin. And we wanna go ahead and just kind of, you know, make sure, I already know by this size that I've got plenty of napkin to go around my clay pot, okay? Now, if you had a bigger pot, you might just need to piece a couple of napkins together. I'm gonna do the all over design. If you wanted to just cut out a flower motif or do like a big collage, you can do that too. So it's really up to you. But I'm gonna show you the all over pattern today. And this is Satin Mod Podge. Like I said earlier, you can use gloss or matte. It's really your preference. I'm doing a silk arrangement in these. If you want to do something that you're going to be watering a lot or have near your kitchen counter, you could use the outdoor formula. You could spray it with a little bit of Ultra Mod Podge at the end if you really wanted that. Or you could use Dishwasher Safe also if you wanted to make it more sink friendly. So let's go ahead and just cut off a little bit of our napkin. And so let's see. I'm going to go ahead and cut this, just cut a little bit of that triangle shape off there. And that is just going to be where we start for the pot. Let's go ahead and smooth that around. And then for the top here, you can really just kind of do a chop around there. That is going to end up going inside the pot. So you can just chop some of that off and chop a little bit of the bottom off. Now these little pieces I save because just like paper, you can do collage with these napkin bits too. So I just have a baggie that I put them in and I use them for all sorts of projects. Now we have this prepped out. I want to go ahead and add my Mod Podge to my pot, and I'm going to work pretty quickly. And after I do that, I'm going to spray mist with just water my napkin before I apply it, and that's going to help remove any wrinkles. Now I'm of the school where I like some of the wrinkles because I think it makes it look handmade and it gives it texture, but so many people really don't like wrinkles. So if you spray it, that's a little tip for working on round objects on how you can prevent some of those wrinkles. One thing I do want to share before we do that is on your napkin, once you get it wet, you cannot tell the front from the back side. So make sure you position your napkin the way you're going to work with it. And the way I'm going to be working with it today is upside down. So that'll be the printed side down, and we're going to wrap it around our pot like this. Once again, make sure you start with it how you want to work on it, because once it's sprayed with water, you will not be able to tell the front from the back. So we're going to go ahead and apply our Mod Podge pretty generously onto the pot. You don't have to be neat about this. On the top coat, I do like to be a little bit neater. Go ahead and apply that, making sure you're just getting all the way around the pot. And since this is small, I'm going to do this all in one swoop, I guess we'll say. If it was a large pot or something very big, you could do this in pieces. You could wrap half of it, let it dry a little bit, and then add more. But this is small, so I can work all the way around it pretty quickly. You just don't want your Mod Podge to dry out. So that's pretty good on there. Hopefully you can see that wet. Now we're going to go ahead and add our little spritz here. And you will see what I mean. That's the back side, but now it looks like it's the front side. It's very confusing once you get it wet. Okay, I'm gonna try to spin this so you can see what I'm doing. Let's see, let's spin it this way. We will pick this part up, position it onto the pot, and just gently, gently smooth that with your fingers. And now you're just gonna kind of pick it up and roll it. The napkins are pretty delicate, and when they're wet, even a little bit more delicate, but you definitely have some room for play. Okay, so use your finger very gently. Different brands of napkins are a little bit stronger than others. Just keep wrapping around. And at this point, I'm just using my finger. You can kind of lift it up and move it. Go ahead and just gently tapping. If you see an air bubble, you can kind of tap on it like that. Just pick it up and keep wrapping. Now we are to our edge here. You can see that's where we started. So we can go ahead and trim off a little bit of that. Now, if you make a mistake and you actually trim too much, you could always just go in with some of your scrap napkin and piece that together. Now you see a little bit of wrinkles there, but as that dries, those wrinkles will start to disappear as the Mod Podge and the water dry together. Okay, let's press that down. Now for the back side here, we're just gonna open that up. I'm gonna trim off a little bit more. It's always best to have a little bit too much and trim away. So we're gonna add some Mod Podge in there and just fold that over, just like so. It's really simple. You just wanna go slow and steady, just like that. And now you can go in and do a little top coating. And I'm barely pressing down, barely pressing down. And any of those little wrinkles that you see, those are all gonna disappear as it dries. There'll still be some. You're still using a napkin and there'll still be a little bit. Press down. Some people like to use a little cello or cling wrap to help get rid of them. Okay, now we're gonna go around this top edge. Super easy also. Let's go ahead and cut some of that off. Now, I don't really measure when I do these. I just kind of eyeball it, and I find it easier. Every time I measure, I don't know, I don't line it up properly. It's kind of a moving target, you know. Okay, so now we have our pot, and let's go ahead and just add a little bit of Mod Podge on the inside, and you'll just fold that over like so. Okay, now I'm gonna set this aside and let this dry. I'm gonna let it dry for about a good half hour, and while it's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and cover our other pots, and I'll be back with our final design. All right, guys, what do you think? They turned out so cute. And who would have thought? It's just some dollar store pots and some napkins, and you can create these fun, cute designs. I cannot wait to see what you make. I'll be back here on Facebook next Thursday and on YouTube on Saturdays with new projects with Mod Podge. Make sure you use those hashtags Plaid Crafts and Mod Podge so everybody at Plaid can see what you're making. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.